The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Morning, everyone. Or I should say good afternoon. Just going to wait 2 minutes see if a few more folks join, so please bear with us. Okay, I recommend we get started. So thank you very much for joining iPass webinar today on the 2018 Mobile Security Report and how iPass is combating Wi-Fi security threats. Just a few weeks ago, iPass released its 2018 Mobile Security Report, which had some interesting findings about how IT professionals view the mobile security vulnerabilities of their organizations. Today, we're going to be talking about this, as well as how iPass helps you combat Wi-Fi security threats. My name is Barry Solomon. I'm head of product marketing at iPass. Now, during this webinar, you will have the ability to post questions, so please go ahead. We have some moderators who'll be picking these up and bringing them to my attention. Let's get started. At iPass, we take our mobile security very seriously. Today, we're going to be talking about the common security threats in a Wi-Fi connected environment and how iPass protects users every step of the way. So your workforce is mobile. They're dependent upon connecting via Wi-Fi, whether they're at their desk, in a conference room, at a cafe down the street, at home, or even if they're traveling out of town. And they're using a variety of devices, including personal devices, to accomplish this. According to Cisco, about 63% of the time they're out and about, they're using public Wi-Fi rather than cellular to stay connected. In the 2018 iPass Mobile Security Report, 81% excuse me, of IT respondents have seen Wi-Fi security breaches in the last 12 months. That's a pretty shocking number. So do you know where your workforce is connecting, how they're connecting, whether they're using connected security protocols such as VPNs? Now, here's some more results from the mobile security report that iPass published. As you can see, IT professionals continue to be especially concerned about mobile security. A majority of CIOs suspect mobile workers have been hacked or caused a security issue. Public Wi-Fi remains a major concern, with 62% of security incidents occurring in cafes and coffee shops. And more workers are using personal devices to do work. This is also seen to be a huge concern. Industry analysts' reports are telling us that mobile attacks and vulnerabilities are increasing. There was a big spike last year in terms of news stories and attacks that made it into the news media. However, that's the tip of the iceberg. The vast majority of these go unreported. And cyber attacks can be very damaging. Just one attack can result in significant financial or reputational damage to an enterprise. While cyber attacks and breaches continue to proliferate, employees are becoming increasingly mobile and are using their devices outside of the corporate firewall. They're choosing to connect to Wi-Fi quite often throughout the day and in public locations in order to stay productive. The biggest challenge remains that most of these Wi-Fi networks, especially public networks, are not as secure as they could be. Now, public Wi-Fi, especially open Wi-Fi, is inherently insecure. Some of the problems include poorly implemented radius-based authentication, open radio bearers that aren't protected by passwords, unprotected backhaul. Even if you protect the radio side of the Wi-Fi connection, your backhaul away from the Wi-Fi infrastructure into the rest of the network can go unprotected and be easy to break into. And we're also seeing an increase in access point spoofing. There are also a number of Wi-Fi attack vectors to be aware of. These are sniffing for login credentials, man-in-the-middle attacks, data modification, identity spoofing, and phishing as a result of captured user credentials. We're also seeing injection attacks where people are injecting malicious code onto users' machines by compromising the Wi-Fi side of the connection. So simply put, public Wi-Fi is a high threat environment. And now there have been corporate initiatives to try and get users to stay away from public Wi-Fi and use things like MiFi devices and 3G, 4G cellular data connections. However, this doesn't always work because sometimes users run into difficulties. For instance, a tethering device such as a MiFi device or phone might be out of battery. There could also be inadvertent connections due to the device's OS automatically connecting to hotspots without the user's knowledge. So at the end of the day, users take the path of least resistance to get their work done. And if public Wi-Fi is available, they'll probably use it. Now, user education campaigns might help mitigate the risks of public Wi-Fi. This includes emphasizing people should use HTTPS to connect to a web property, warning them not to override browser warnings, encouraging use of two-factor authentication, disabling file sharing. And there's also been a lot of talk about future technologies such as 802.1x, Hotspot 2.0, and the new WPA3 standard providing security. However, the deployment is in its infancy. It could take years for these to roll out. In fact, we only see less than 10% deployment of 802.1x among our network providers. So sometimes none of this works. As you've seen, these mitigations rely on users modifying their behaviors, which is by no means a foolproof method. Now, over the years, iPass has invested heavily in ruggedizing our solutions and protecting users by overlaying various security technologies on top of our service. Our approach is to treat the whole service as a complete attack surface. We assume users are in an insecure environment, and we take every possible measure to mitigate potential attacks. That means we're thinking about end-to-end security. Everything from the client side all the way through the access infrastructure and into our platform and back end, as well as integration with our suppliers' billing and authentication systems. We've hardened and analyzed each individual component in their service to block all possible attack vectors. The iPass platform continuously monitors and validates our global Wi-Fi footprint to ensure its authenticity. Now, the iPass customer base includes blue chip companies, enterprises, and some very big management consultancies. We have carrier service providers around the world who have stringent security requirements. They all have sensitive information, including PII, that they could be liable for if not properly secured. So iPass is continuously monitoring emerging threats to ensure continued security. Before we move on, I just want to clarify what I mean when I'm talking about the iPass SmartConnect platform. First, we have the iPass SmartConnect app that resides on the user's devices. It can be a phone, tablet, or PC running iOS, Android, Windows, or Mac OS. Next, when I refer to the iPass infrastructure, I'm talking about the SmartConnect Cloud Platform, which consists of numerous servers and services. It also includes access to the iPass network. The client device communicates with the iPass SmartConnect Cloud service to provide seamless, secure mobile security for users. The first step SmartConnect takes is to make sure that the Wi-Fi infrastructure is authentic and performing properly. The SmartConnect service looks for telltale signs of malicious hotspots. First, the iPass client gathers the SSID and BSSID of access points and hotspots users encounter. The SmartConnect Cloud then checks their validity against our network provider's information. We then correlate the actual geolocation of the hotspot with our network provider's information. A side effect of this is we maintain a high degree of location accuracy down to the access point level. Next, we monitor all this hotspot information for consistency over a period of time and actually create a connection history of the access point. When we encounter an access point or a hotspot that's suspect, we blacklist it so users don't connect to it. We continue our access point validation by checking its gateway certificate. We ensure the gateway certificate is perfectly well-formed and issued by a valid certifying authority. The purpose is to make sure the certs haven't been manipulated in any way before making a connection. The connection security is another area where iPass has done a lot of work. For initial authentication into the iPass system, we use a number of technologies to keep user credentials safe. We developed the ICO algorithm that uses robust encryption to send user credentials to the iPass service. We ensure these credentials are used only once to prevent bad actors from retrying existing credentials to gain access to the service. Once a user is authenticated in our system, we pivot to a token-based scheme that makes it unnecessary for the user to re-enter their credentials. And that's extremely important since once users are activated on the system, there's no need for them to enter credentials and expose their credentials, their username, their password, even potentially credit card when logging in to our network. With our one-time password, a token for the next connection is embedded in the user's device. Of course, it's encrypted. We have a number of methods to protect this token so that even someone gets into the device, they won't be able to log into the iPass network. As you can see, with our one-time password capability, we provide maximum security in a way that does not impact and, in fact, even improves the user experience. After all, no one wants to be bothered constantly having to enter username, password, and other credentials over and over to access Wi-Fi. Next, the iPass SmartConnect services include Last Mile VPN at no extra charge. When a connection request is initiated from a device, an iPass SmartConnect enabled device, an encrypted and secure tunnel is created so that the data is transferred between the internet and the device is protected. Since all transmissions are encrypted, this protects Wi-Fi users from all kinds of attacks, even the crack attack, which was exposed as a vulnerability last year, which was a vulnerability inherent in the Wi-Fi access point. But VPN will protect against that. So using VPNs, especially in open Wi-Fi environments, is widely recommended by security experts. And one thing to note, iPass VPNs will not diminish performance. We've distributed them around the globe to keep them closer to users no matter where they are. This shows how iPass Last Mile VPN works in conjunction with the corporate VPN. By the way, if you have a corporate VPN, we encourage you to use it as it secures the connection end to end. The iPass also integrates with a number of popular corporate VPNs shown here. With the iPass service, administrators can force the corporate VPN to be enabled for all connections. We've made this pretty seamless so employees can go from inside the corporate firewall to, let's say, a coffee shop nearby and be fully protected at all times. Now let's talk for a moment about the connectivity data collected by the SmartConnect platform and how it can be used to enhance security. As you can see from the diagram, the SmartConnect enabled devices constantly report on the wireless networks they encounter as users move about and connect to access points. The information reported includes a rich set of data about the access points, their location, and connection performance. And all of this data is fully anonymized with no PII included. We're very, very conscious of GDPR, which is coming up very quickly in the EU, and we will be fully compliant with that. Now, the iPass SmartConnect Cloud continuously aggregates and analyzes this data, creating a historical view of the network and access points over time. iPass makes this data available to SmartConnect customers in the form of Veri-Fi mobility dashboards that provide valuable insights into security vulnerabilities in your organization. Let's have a look at one of the dashboards. This is a dashboard that shows the number of untrusted networks that were encountered by employees. Over time, as you can see, there were, in fact, from month to month, a number of these networks encountered. This is an extremely valuable bit of information that can inform IT departments about how vulnerable employees are to connecting to rogue hotspots. When IT managers have this kind of information, they can take some action to mitigate the danger. For instance, they can educate employees about potential vulnerabilities or remind them to use a VPN when connecting. They can also update the mobility policies and even warn them about connecting in certain locations. Here's another dashboard. This dashboard shows the usage of Last Mile VPN among employees. If an IT department sees that Last Mile VPN is not being used, they can take action such as, once again, educate employees or update their mobility policies, thus plugging another security vulnerability. Now, I just want to talk for a moment about the SmartConnect and iPass backend infrastructure, security, and resilience. All data is encrypted, whether it's in transit or at rest. This is in both in the iPass client and the iPass backend service as well. Our data centers are SOC 2 compliant. This means they meet criteria for security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. And within the iPass corporate, we adhere to strict information security policies to keep our information secure and separate from our Wi-Fi providers, including PII authentication and billing info. We continuously apply industry standard penetration tests to our infrastructure. We also run penetration tests that are required by our customers and add them to our testing suite, so it's constantly growing. Finally, security is built into our software and development process. This includes rigorous code testing for memory leaks and other security issues, and static line-by-line code analysis. As you can see, iPass has a legacy of over 20 years being trusted by hundreds of customers that include the largest customers, largest enterprises, Fortune 100, Fortune 500, and we have had to meet their requirements for stringent security. A word about iPass. We're the leading provider of global mobile connectivity. We offer the world's largest Wi-Fi network with over 64 million hotspots in over 180 countries and territories. With iPass SmartConnect, we offer unlimited, everywhere invisible connectivity powered by the world's largest Wi-Fi network. So I'm going to thank you for your time and open it up for some questions. We'll give it a couple of moments because it does take time. Well, Alex, I take it there are no questions.
You are correct.
And what I'm going to make you, excuse.
Yes. So we have one question that just came in. Natalia is asking to please send the presentation.
Okay, we can do that. We have their info.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Be happy to.
She says thanks.
We do send the presentation out to all attendees as a matter of course.
No more
Okay,
questions.
well, I think if there are no more questions coming in, we can call it an afternoon. Well, thank you all once again for attending the webinar and for your interest in iPass. I hope we have a chance to stay in touch with you and tell you more about iPass products as well as how we can protect your enterprises from Wi-Fi security vulnerabilities.